All right, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about repurposing content, what you can do, how you can do it, and what I do. And so, yeah, I run a podcast called the Dunk Talk Podcast. If you're a returning viewer, you've probably heard me talk about it before. And I made this checklist recently of all the things that I generally do. Some of them, I do sometimes, some of them I don't do every single time, but I wrote it all down because I want to make this a consistent thing that I do for every single podcast. And so I'm going to read it out to you guys. And first of all, you can just see that there's a ton of things. So that is the first thing is that there's a lot of ways you can repurpose one piece of content. And so I'm going to read this out to you guys, not to, just read it to you, but to like walk you through each step and how they're all kind of intertwined and where you can kind of, collaborate with the AI and with stuff that you're doing to not waste any time when you're doing this. And so starting out, of course, you've got to film it. You've got to, get your guest, get your topic, whatever it is, and sit down and film it, just like I'm doing right now. This could be repurposed in the same way. In fact, it's going to be. I'm going to be turning it into some of these things. Not all the same things, since this isn't a formal like podcast like I do with my other thing, but you get what I mean. And so after that, Descript audio enhancement. And this is kind of an optional thing. Thankfully, through my work and stuff, I get Descript, access to Descript, so it's very easy to just do a few things on there. If you don't know what Descript is, I could probably do a walkthrough video eventually. But they just implemented something super cool called Overlord, which is basically a AI like within the editing app. And so instead of actually going through and manually doing all the things, you can just tell it like, remove filler words, and then it will go through and remove all filler words. You can tell it, enhance audio, studio audio, I believe. I don't think it's called studio audio or something like that, but there's a way that you can enhance the audio, remove filler words, all that. So just do like some minor edits, because obviously you want your podcast to be authentic and all that as well. And so I really just use it to enhance the audio on there. So just a couple clicks and then boom, done. So I already filmed it, already enhanced the audio, so now it's ready to be put out there. And so the first thing is I put it up on YouTube as a private video. Of course, you always want to have your thing on private first. You can edit it and all that without having to do everything beforehand and then putting it up there. So put it up private on YouTube, put up the audio file alone on Spotify. Forgot to mention it, but putting the video version on YouTube, of course. And then what you do from there is once you have a transcript, you could get it from Descript, but if you don't have access to Descript, YouTube generates a transcript. Sometimes it takes a little bit after the video is uploaded. Take the transcript and use it to create a title for the YouTube video. Obviously, for my podcast, since it's kind of my thing, I have like my own little format, the way I do things. So for me, I kind of do like title and then person if it wasn't mentioned in the actual title. So for example, like how this dunker got a 49-inch vertical, Dylan McCarthy, and then episode 49 or whatever it is, something like that. And so you can find your own style, of course, but use the title. And, you want to, of course, create a title, but you also want to give ChatGPT, AI, whatever you're using, a lot of context when you're doing anything. And so for this one, you're going to want to tell it to, help you optimize for SEO and for keywords and all that. And actually, there's one thing in this that I forgot to put in here, so I'm going to have to edit this and change it. I do this, but once again, I was just kind of doing this last night. And so I'm going to have to put that in as well. But I'll talk about that in a second. So description, same thing. Give a quick summary of the video, who it is. You want to make sure that that is keyword optimized as well. You can do that through ChatGPT again, just using the same chat, same transcript. And then thumbnail, I use the same kind of thumbnail format for all my videos. I'll put one on screen right now. They all look the same, but I'm just use Adobe to remove the background of the person. It's kind of automatic, kind of manual. So that's honestly one of the longer parts of this entire thing, is just making that thumbnail, even though it's super basic. And then after that, do the same thing with Spotify. Of course, the title and description are already made, so I can just throw those up on there. And then I set up my Apple Podcast to where I believe it's called like the RSS feed or something like that. It automatically posts to Apple Podcasts. I did it a long time ago, so I don't exactly remember how to do it, but I'm sure you can figure it out. It's not that hard. And so just like that, we've already got the podcast up on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, with transcripts and all that stuff out there for people to see, for the AI to read and all of that. So after that, of course, we're going to publish the video. The first step is publishing on YouTube. Literally just hit publish, and then I sort all mine by playlist. Some of them are dunker stories, some are professional dunkers, some are amateur dunkers, and then I have one for like season 1 and all that, of course. And so that's, once again, super easy. Takes less than a minute. And then of course just publish on Spotify. It's easy. And then IG posts. So on my Dunk Talk Podcast Instagram, I have an Instagram account for that. I post all the episode thumbnails with a little bit of background just to kind of promote people watching it. And then I actually haven't set this up yet, but I wrote this down prematurely because I'm about to do it, is there's two types of accounts on Facebook. There's profiles and pages. I could go make an entire video on this, but I'm just going to go quick run through here. If you set up a page through your Instagram account, then you can actually have a feature where it cross posts everything from your Instagram to your Facebook. So I have both. For my personal stuff, I have a page where all my Instagram reels and all that get posted to the page on Facebook as well. And I also have a personal one where I post like personal stuff, but also, of course, at the same time, just sharing what I'm doing and all that. And so you want to have both. But for the business, for the podcast, whatever, you're going to want to have a page that everything cross posts to there. So you're getting double the content with, the same amount of effort. After that, I put up an IG or an Instagram story on the brand account, so the Dunk Talk Podcast account, and on my personal account, giving a little bit of background, just once again promoting it for people to go and watch. And then I also have a story highlight on my other Instagram, once again, just for organization. I'm big on organization, if you can't tell, so I do that as well. And then, once again, you can just even use the YouTube description as the like the description for your Instagram post or something like that. Or you can have it create a new one for Instagram, optimized for Instagram. Once again, ChatGPT, you can just do so much of this now and just say format this description, but for Instagram. And the next one is Twitter or X. And so X obviously has a character limit unless you're verified, and I still think it does have a character limit, but I'm not paying to get verified. They can verify me if they want to eventually. But yeah, so for X, you can just do the same thing. Say shorten this description to, 200 characters or whatever it is, 120, I don't remember. And so do that on there. And then I retweet it on my personal, posting it on the brand account. And so as you can see, all the written stuff is just basically done. Once you do it one time, then you can just say, format this for this. Obviously, you're going to make some changes. You never want to take the first thing the AI gives you. You want to customize it a bit, make it what you want it to be like. But if you wanted to, you could literally do all of it immediately. So next thing, Facebook personal. So if it's a good enough episode that I really want to share with my friends and family and whatever, and all the people that are following me on there, can do that as well. LinkedIn company page. You should definitely set up a company page for your podcast or your nonprofit or whatever you're running, just to show that you have experience doing a variety of different things. So I set up one for my podcast, and once again, post the podcasts on there, not full episodes, just kind of linking to them and giving a little bit of background, why it's relevant, whatever. And then if it's relevant enough to my work, I post on my personal LinkedIn talking about what I did, why I did it, and who it was and all that. YouTube community post. YouTube community posts are a really good way to kind of boost the video back out to your subscribers after a couple days. So imagine, I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see this person posted a podcast. I want to watch that, but then I kind of forget about it for a few days. And then I see a community post from that same person saying have you seen this episode yet? Whatever, you get the idea. And so I always do a YouTube community post on my podcast account a few days after. And if the podcast, once again, is good enough, then I will do a YouTube community post on my personal YouTube as well, because obviously that one has a lot more subscribers. Blog posts, this is the part that probably takes the longest, actually. This part, I haven't done for enough of my podcasts yet, so I'm working on it. I got a lot going on, so I'm trying to, make time for the blog posts, but unfortunately those have kind of been the thing that have fallen off. And so blog post, embed the YouTube video, and once again you can just use AI to take the transcript and repurpose it. And that is not, don't just tell it to generate you an article or whatever. Tell it to stay directly on the transcript and just stay to it. That's the important part, is that you're not just making things up. You're actually going off of your real experiences and stuff like that. And then another thing that I want to do but haven't gotten to do yet is use some sort of AI thing like Opus Clip, or I believe that's what it's called, to just take the YouTube video and make a bunch of short form clips for Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube Shorts, all that. I used to do them all manually, but the reason I stopped was because all this other stuff kind of popped up, and I felt like that was kind of the thing that needed to go the most, or that wasn't as necessary as all this other stuff. But I just wanted, this is a much longer video than I thought it was going to be, but I mostly just wanted to show you guys all the different ways that you can repurpose just one piece of content. And so I hope you guys learned that there are, infinite ways that you can use a single piece of content. And I really hope that you guys, implement this. So tell me, how much of this have you guys been doing? What have you not been doing? And what are you going to start doing? Where are you confused? What do you want to continue doing with your own content, all that. Ask any questions, guys. I'll make sure to get back to as many of you as possible in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed. If you learned anything, make sure to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out.